gradually picking up that speed onto that back straightaway once we get around. Well, as we get on the track, making sure we make our way up to that fourth gear for me before that drop. Just trying to improve on that smoothness through the drop also. It should be a nice fluid motion with the steering wheel and the throttle all the way through. Turn 4 here over Zoras. We can really flip that apex at the top of the hill, riding that curvy down, squeezing in the throttle on the way down the hill. Looking all the way down the straightaway here as we begin our braking. And gradually picking up our speed as we get the tire temperature back up to par here. We're going to cross. Really want to focus on using that throttle steer, especially turn 5, where we really can emphasize it out here. As we come out onto that white line here, Robert, looking across for 6, already kind of placing ourselves, now turning our head left, looking to where we want to be on the exit of the corner. We're planning the exit of the corner a little bit sooner so we can have more time to process all the information and think about it. Back to the left-hand side here. Making our downshift down to 3rd gear. We're looking to the right now here, Robert. Making a smooth adjustment in there's our throttle on the way out. 10 here, guys. We're using up all of this apex curving, all of this plus the more. There you go, making a nice fluid motion on the way out. And straight line braking as we make our downshift balance into turn 1. Lighten up here, Robert. Start turning that wheel. Get down to that inside. Just a little bit sooner. There you go. Nice line. There you go. All the way back down to our left-hand side here for 2. Making sure we get that car slowed and just drive that brake pressure into that corner a little bit. Sure we're not giving up on the steering wheel, making sure for these hairpins we give it enough steer to get all the way down there. Little brake pressure, eyes up here, Robert, as we flip that top of the hill, rolling in the throttle all the way down. All the way down the straightaway, making that transition from throttle back to brake very smooth. Now if we find that the car wiggling and walking under braking, probably because we went from throttle directly to brake really fast. So we're just trying to slow down the engine. We're just staying in 4th gear in our automatic, carrying the momentum through the corners here. Trying not to make any downshifts into 6, trying to fix there. Back to the left hand side, just remember 4th gear all the way through there. 3rd gear for the hairpins, guys. Get our eyes up here, Robert, making a smooth adjustment on the way out. 3rd gear, slowly coming out of the corners. Got nice acceleration out. Using up turn 6 here, Robert, all the way out. Rolling up to 5th gear. Straight line towards turn 1. Making sure we just work on that momentum through the corners. Inside here, inside, turning all the way down. Maintaining that speed through and accelerating on the way out here, Robert. Nice, good line there, nice momentum. Way to work it now. A little bit more steering all the way down to turn 2. A little bit more, there you go. Eyes up, looking for what's coming up there. Brake pressure as we come in. We're going to slow the tap in here, Robert. We're going to bring our group back on up here. Yeah, they're on up here. Just stay behind me, though. And that focus back up there, Mark and Gary. Making sure we're working on those precise. Shift point a little wide right there, Gary. We got to be a whole lot tighter than that apex at the top of the hill. That was really close there, Gary. So we really got to make sure we brake a little bit going into that corner. Try not to go back to throttle too soon. Now that's going to really push us wide over Zoras, and that's a dangerous corner to go off pretty high speed. Just get that focused up. Get that focused up the entire time. Let's pick that speed back up, Robert. All right, Robert, looking good here. Nice line through. For our turning point, making sure we just don't turn in too early. That's one big thing we really want to work on too, is having that patience for these turning points. All the way down there, Robert, here's the speed through, accelerate now, so make our straight line braking, downshift, turn on in, get down this inside a little sooner here. There you go, keeping that momentum through, and squeeze as you take the steering out of the cover. There you go. Nicely done there. Just working on lots of steering. But want to feel that car flatten out down here, and then roll into the throttle very gently. There you go, making those smooth adjustments for the drop as we straighten that wheel just briefly. Making sure we balance in a four here, guys. In a four, and back speed just until we get to that apex. Alright, Robert, I'm going to have you pull on over to the right point. Get the mark up here. Let's make this a fast transition over to the right. Mark coming on up. And Gary, once you come over, turn 4, speed to the left-hand side. So, Robert, you're pulling behind the 5 feet over. So, Gary, then speak it on, will you? As we come in here, Mark, we're looking across. Stay where all the black is here, guys. If we find ourselves up in the gray of these turns, there's no grip out there. So if we can read the track, see where it's black, that's where the track, that's where everybody drives. That's where the track is. That's the correct line. You're trying not to find yourself out in the block, out in the gray out there. There you go, Mark. Looking across. Nice smooth inputs on the way out. Accelerating. There you go. Eyes up here for me as we come in. Set ourselves up in a spin. Rolling throttle on the way out. There you go. Up to 4 gear. As we come in, that firmer brake pressure initially as we make that downshift. Lighten up as you turn. Try not to progress the brakes. That wheel. There you go. Nice line there, Mark. Back to the left hand side. All the way down here for 2. Fill that car flat. Smooth throttle acceleration on the way out. There you go. Looking for the drop. Making sure we get nice and tight to the apex of the top of the hill, guys. Tight to the apex of the top, riding the curving down. Smooth acceleration on the way out. Looking through here, Mark, as we lighten up. Carry that momentum in. Carry it in. Come to the middle of the track. To the right. Use that throttle here to help us down. Just don't want to hold the inside lane a little too much because then I can gap you on the way out a little bit. Because you're still fighting and waiting for throttle. We're already pointed straight out of that apex to accelerate. Here we go. Little throttle. Speed through 7. Nice. A little balance. In for 8. Just very light brake. Up, back up to the left here, just set up for 9. There we go, nice line out of there, Mark. Balance in. Good, nice line, use up all the track here. Straight line brake a little further, and just lighten up. Follow me down to the inside, there's more grip down here, get down there, there you go, and then maintain speed. We can use a little throttle here at the very last second, with that apex. And then be back to throttle on the way out as we straight line for the turning point. There we go, nice line there. Get ahead, making sure we can be nice and tight over the hill here. All the way down the straightaway. As we transition to that brake, remember a little bit slower from the throttle to brake there. Balance it in here, hard to start preparing ourselves for the middle of the corner. The middle, there you go. Now looking across, a little lift, and smooth acceleration out. Perfect. A lot better, just a little heavy with the throttle, just a little early. You know that car's going to go in that slide. So we just want to be a little bit smoother into that throttle on the way out of that car. Eyes up, preparing the next corner. Smooth brakes in. Keeping that focus back up there, Robert, and Gary. Smooth transitions, smooth input, and keeping those eyes moving here. There you go, Mark. Nice and easy in the tune. Little maintenance throttle through the apex, now squeezing into it on the way out. There you go, a little firmer. Remember, just crossing that white line, about a quarter of the way through that track, and that wheel down to the inside. There we go, holding 3/4 of the way, perfect, nice line there. Smooth inputs all the way down for 2, still that car flat, out to the white line now. So we come onto the back here, Mark, we're going to be slowing our pace on up a little bit. And I want you on over to the right hand side for me. Nice job there, Mark. Overall, pretty clean line. marker corner behind the 40 ATS blue. 2 cars sold. And let's get rolling here, Gary. 4th gear for me as we come into turn 5. Practicing that throttle steer, even right here at a little slower speed, a little throttle lift here, let that car turn. Using fast throttle, make sure you tighten up these apexes here. We come in lighter, longer brakes, looking to the left here. Smooth inputs down. That wheel. Little throttle lift, patience for 7. We come in edge down. Back down to 3rd gear here as we turn on in, lots of steering. Just smooth acceleration. Here we go, rolling into it up to 4th, trying not to cross that white line too much, trying to hold it. All the way down into 10. Smooth input down, that's a fluent motion. To fit, making sure you're going to fit. Take that one into 1. Lighten up on those brakes and turn that wheel all the way to the inside. There we go, carry that momentum. Now we pick up throttle, we're push us wide from the apex. We got to make all that steering adjustment way after. You know, it should be a nice fluid motion all the way through, and where we can be at the apex, accelerate now. There we go, rolling up to 4th gear, looking through the drop here. As we come up to Zora's here, a little breakdown, we're turning in. So we start turning in a little early, and that's what's pushing us wide on the exit there. Notice the gap I can form on the way out of the corner. As you turn in early, if you scrap a little speed, it was affecting the exit of the corner here. Balance at a 5. Mutations, eyes across here. Keep those eyes moving, eyes moving. There we go. Still about 4 feet from our apex right there. Use that throttle steer. It's going to help us turn down there a little bit tighter, making sure that we can flip every single one of these apexes. Moving through 8, making sure you got that balance. Light brakes into 9, making sure we give it enough steering all the way down there. Keep turning. Here we go, much better. Smooth input. A little bit of brake on all the way down to 10. Very important to get down to 10. And we missed that entire apex. That's supposed to start going on the track there. We cannot miss it. 80 miles per hour through there. Looking to the left now. Easing out of those brakes, back to maintenance throttle, a little lift. Now accelerate. So we're already starting to pick up throttle. We're just pushing up a little further there again. Gotta wait for that throttle just a tad bit longer. A little early right there. So you're up and over at the curve, and we never find ourselves over there. That will happen because we turned way too early. Look at where my car's at. All the way to the left. All the way to the left. There we go. Slow down as we get through. Up and over the hill. There you go. That's where we should be. Find ourselves pushing wide. We should be riding that curve all the way down the hill there. Be able to come on a nice smooth line. As we come in, lighten up on those brakes. Carry it in outside a little bit longer. So we can, you're pushing wide at the apex. Coming in a little early and get down on the inside right there. Just looking across, just keeping our eyes moving. Nice and smooth inputs here. Set that car here. But here's a lot more momentum through there. Just because that little minor little slide right there. Momentum, not relying on sheer amount of brake and acceleration. I'm down to 200 horsepower on you, Gary. Look at this gap that you formed through that section on you. Down to the inside nice and early, and then just be patient with the throttle. Patient with it, all the way down to the apex. We come onto the back straight, guys. We're going to be slowing our pace on up and pulling over to the right-hand side. Everybody, over a single file line. There you go. Slow up just a little bit to Robert and Mark over to the right hand side for me. We're just going to be coming to a stop so we can get some spacing between us and that group in front of us. We started catching them. Didn't want to catch them halfway through and give up a lap. Overall, looking good, guys. We just got to make sure we're looking through these corners, being a little bit more patient. All right? Patience and finesse with these cars are going to go a long way. And us guys, we already come into this situation before you throw a high horsepower car into the situation. We don't have very much of either one. So trying to really force ourselves and kind of tune the bull as we're behind the wheel of these cars, so really can make sure we're clipping all our marks and being smooth here. Alright guys, let's pull back on over to our left and let's get rolling here. So Gary, let's make this last lap here. Nice smooth one, making sure we can really clip all our apexes here. Keep those eyes moving. A little wider. A little wider. You just got to drop a little bit more. Across the corner again, looking across, looking for where we want to go. Keep those eyes moving. Turning all the way down, getting back to our brakes here to slow up the corner entry. Think about slow in, fast out. If we come barreling into these corners way too fast, we're not going to be precise enough, and we're not going to be very fast on the way out. Slow in, fast out is the technique we want to work on. Come out, we carry that momentum in. There you go. Looking good. Light brakes in. Balance. Lighten up on those brakes. Turn the wheel. Wait for the throttle. So we can start taking steering out of the car. We need to be pointed further down that straightaway before we pick up the acceleration. No, way to fix that mistake there too. Not too early that time. That was good. Now keep those eyes up to the floor here. Drag those brakes a little lighter, wait to accelerate, so we're going down the hill between it on line. We're way too far out to the left. We're fighting on traffic there, Gary. I'm telling you that is not the line right there. So we really got to fix that and turn forward, or you're going to go off that company right there. That's a tricky corner, and we cannot be way out there to the left in those bluffs like that. Alright guys, we're going to slow our pace on up. We're slowing our pace up here, taking a minor cool down lap here as we get ready to exit the track here. Overall, nice session there, guys. Robert, way to be nice and smooth the entire way around. Your line's looking awesome. You know, there's not a whole bunch there you can work on, Robert. You know, we can just massage some of those details out, and we'll talk over those once we get out of the car. Mark, looking really good. Way to tighten up all those apexes, some improvements there. You know, we can be a little bit more aggressive with the throttle on the way out of the corners there, Mark. So your line's looking good. We can really get back to that throttle a little sooner and carry that momentum. And then Gary, we're doing good overall. The first couple laps were not bad, you know, and then we just kind of start overdriving the car a little bit.